The craziest trade rumor in the entire MLB has just exploded out of nowhere on July 20th, 2026, and the baseball world genuinely cannot decide whether to laugh, cry, or immediately start refreshing every sports app on their phone waiting for confirmation. We are talking about a deal so massive, so unexpected, so completely out of left field that the first reaction from every serious baseball analyst who heard it was, "There is absolutely no way," followed immediately by, "But what if there actually is a way?" This is the rumor that changes everything about the Yankees' trade deadline strategy, their roster construction, and potentially their entire competitive window. And the details are wilder than anything you are ready for. Subscribe right now and hit the notification bell because trade deadline season is moving at warp speed, and I am covering every rumor, every report, and every development the second it surfaces. You need to be here for this one. Let's get all the way into it. Let me start by setting the scene, because the context of where the Yankees are right now is what makes this trade rumor so explosive and so genuinely believable despite how insane it sounds on the surface. The Yankees entered the 2026 season with championship expectations. They have the payroll, the roster, the history, and the market to demand nothing less. But July 20th, 2026 finds them in a complicated position, 49-44, fighting for a wild card spot in a tight AL East race, without their captain Aaron Judge, who Brian Cashman recently admitted is likely done for the regular season with cascade injuries. The team has been competitive but not dominant. They have been grinding through a difficult schedule without their best player, and the cracks are starting to show. The trade deadline is approximately 10 days away. Every conversation happening inside the Yankees front office right now is about one thing. What move or moves can we make that transforms this team from wild card contender to genuine World Series threat? And that question, asked with the Yankees' resources and urgency, is what apparently generated the most jaw-dropping trade rumor of the entire 2026 baseball season. According to a report that broke across multiple sources on July 20th, 2026, the New York Yankees have had preliminary discussions with the San Diego Padres about a trade centered on outfielder Fernando Tatis Jr. The reaction, when this rumor first surfaced, was immediate and universal. People did not believe it. It sounded too big, too complicated, too financially insane to be real. But the sources attached to this rumor are not the kind you dismiss. Multiple established baseball insiders with track records of accuracy on major transactions confirm that conversations have happened. Not that a deal is imminent. Not that both sides have agreed to terms. But that the conversations are real. Fernando Tatis Jr., let us make sure everyone understands exactly who we are talking about here, because the magnitude of this rumor is directly connected to the magnitude of the player at the center of it. Tatis is a 27-year-old outfielder who represents one of the most complicated stories in recent baseball history. The talent is unquestioned and genuinely exceptional. When healthy and focused, Tatis is one of the 5 most exciting players in baseball. The explosiveness at the plate, the athleticism in the outfield, the ability to take over games with both his bat and his glove, all of it is real, and all of it is the kind of talent that teams build championship rosters around. But the complication is equally real. Tatis has a 14-year, $340 million contract with the Padres, one of the largest contracts in baseball history. He missed significant time due to a PED suspension and various injury issues. His relationship with the Padres organization has had its complicated moments. And despite his talent, the Padres have struggled to build a consistent winner around him, leading to growing questions internally about whether the franchise is better served by pivoting away from the current core and starting a rebuild. That combination, enormous talent, enormous contract, complicated history, and a team questioning its direction, is exactly the kind of situation that creates trade rumors. And when you add the Yankees on the other end, with their resources, their desperation for a replacement for Judge's production, and their window that is open right now with their core of veterans, you have the ingredients for a genuinely believable blockbuster. So what would a Tatis trade actually look like? This is where the rumor gets both exciting and complicated in equal measure. The financial component alone is staggering. Tatis has approximately $270 million remaining on his contract. Even if the Padres absorb a significant portion of that financial commitment, which they would have to in any realistic trade scenario, the Yankees would be taking on payroll obligations that would reshape their financial structure for years. The luxury tax implications, the long-term commitment, the risk that Tatis's complicated history follows him to New York, all of that weighs heavily on the other side of the ledger from his extraordinary talent. The prospect cost would also be significant. The Padres, if they are indeed moving toward a rebuild, would want top prospects in return for a player of Tatis's caliber regardless of the financial complexity. The Yankees farm system has been improving, but is not overflowing with the kind of elite talent that typically changes hands in superstar trades. Assembling a package that satisfies San Diego while not completely gutting the Yankees' organizational depth would require creative structuring and significant sacrifice. Multiple baseball analysts who weighed in on the rumor on July 20th pointed to three specific complications that make the deal difficult even if both sides are genuinely interested. The first is timing. With Judge potentially returning in 2027, the Yankees' most urgent need is for the remainder of the 2026 season. Tatis would help now, but the full value of his contract extends far beyond the current window, meaning the Yankees would be making a massive long-term commitment to solve what is primarily a short-term problem. The second complication is roster fit. The Yankees already have Cody Bellinger, who is having an MVP caliber season, in the outfield. Adding Tatis creates a complicated situation where the Yankees have two high-priced outfield stars and a returning Judge, which is an embarrassment of riches, but also a significant roster construction headache. The third complication is purely psychological and organizational. The Yankees under Brian Cashman have occasionally made massive splashes, but are not typically the team that makes the most chaotic, highest-risk trades at the deadline. Their approach tends toward surgical precision rather than swinging for the fences on complicated situations. Taking on Tatis, with his contract, his history, his complications, feels more like a different organization's move than a Yankees move. But here is what keeps this rumor alive despite all the legitimate reasons to be skeptical. The Yankees are desperate. Not desperate in a panicking, irrational way, but desperate in the specific sense that a team with championship expectations and a legitimate window watches its best player go down for the year and understands that windows close and opportunities do not always come back. The 2026 season with a healthy Judge was supposed to be the year. Without Judge, the calculus changes and the urgency to compensate changes with it. Tatis represents the kind of impact talent that could genuinely replace Judge's production in the lineup, not identically, not perfectly, but at a level that keeps the Yankees competitive rather than just grinding through a diminished version of their planned season. If the Padres absorb enough salary to make the financial burden manageable, and if the prospect cost can be structured creatively, there is a version of this deal that makes sense for the Yankees despite all the complications. The Padres' motivation for exploring this rumor is equally important to understand. San Diego entered 2026 with their own championship aspirations that have not materialized. They are under .500. Their roster has underperformed, and ownership is apparently having frank conversations about whether the current direction is the right one. Moving Tatis, despite the financial commitment, despite the emotional difficulty of trading their franchise icon, might be the move that allows them to genuinely reset and build something more coherent around younger, cheaper talent. The reaction from around baseball to this rumor has been everything you would expect: shock, skepticism, excitement, and the kind of obsessive what-if analysis that makes the trade deadline the most entertaining period of the baseball calendar. Teams around the league are apparently watching this situation carefully, because a Tatis trade to New York would reshape the competitive landscape in ways that affect everyone from the AL East to the World Series bracket. Yankees fans have been living with this rumor all day on July 20th, and the reaction is perfectly divided along predictable lines. One camp is fully in. They want the splash, they want the excitement, they want to believe their team is going to make the move that changes everything. The other camp is cautious, pointing to the contract risk, the complications, and the history that comes with Tatis as reasons to let someone else take the gamble. Cashman has not commented publicly on the Tatis rumor, which is exactly what you would expect from one of the most disciplined communicators in the sport. His silence is not confirmation, and it is not denial. It is the professional posture of a general manager who understands that trade deadline rumors live and die based on what the principals say publicly, and saying nothing is always the right move when you are actually in discussions. The next 10 days are going to be fascinating. Either this rumor develops into something real, and the Yankees make the most shocking acquisition of the trade deadline era, or it fades, as so many blockbuster rumors do, real conversations that hit too many obstacles to become actual transactions. Both outcomes are possible. Both have meaningful implications for where the Yankees season goes from here. What is not possible is pretending this rumor does not matter, or does not reveal something important about the Yankees' current mindset. You do not have conversations about Fernando Tatis Jr. unless you are genuinely trying to solve a problem that you view as urgent. The Yankees view their current situation as urgent. The question is whether the solution they are exploring is the right one. Could the Yankees actually pull off the most insane trade rumor of the 2026 deadline and land Fernando Tatis Jr.? 10 days ago, the answer would have been an emphatic no. Today, on July 20th, 2026, with Judge done for the year and the deadline approaching fast, the answer is a complicated maybe that nobody in baseball is ready to completely dismiss. This one is worth watching every single day until the deadline passes. Warning: entertainment disclaimer. This content is based on publicly available reports and trade rumors as of July 20th, 2026. All analysis represents opinion and commentary for entertainment purposes only. No affiliation with MLB, New York Yankees, San Diego Padres, or any individuals mentioned. Trade rumors do not confirm actual transactions. For official information, visit Yankees.com.